Hi everyone, it's Vismaya, teacher, speaker, best-selling author, but you already know my favorite role is that of a gratitude gangster. What? So I wanted to touch on something this week that it was a big lesson for me, and I think it really will add value to your life. And that's what this is all about. How do we add value? How do we tap into those things that may sometimes be challenging so that we can overcome them, deal with them, and find a way to create a moment of gratitude out of them. So, how many of you have somebody in your life that's just a little challenging, or somebody that you really adore, but somehow whenever you're together, it's like you're hitting, butting heads? Well, for me, that's my mother. So, and again, this is not about making my mother wrong. This is about the lesson that I learned for myself and how to create a relationship with my mother so that when I'm with her, it's peaceful and delicious and as nurturing as it possibly can be. So, my mom is bipolar. She's been diagnosed since I was 13. So, growing up, it was a little tumultuous. And, my mother has been my biggest cheerleader and my biggest nemesis. And again, this is not about knocking her. This is all about really sharing with you how something occurred this past week and I was able to shift it. So my birthday is July 3rd. On July 2nd, my mother and I went to her friend's house. We had a little birthday celebration for me. And as we're getting back in the car, my mom says, "I wish we got along better." And I said, "You know what? I wish we did too." I said, "But for me, you don't ever own anything that you do. It's always this big fight where I'm crazy, nothing happened, I don't know what I'm talking about." And it ended up being this huge tete-a-tete. It was ugly. I dropped her off at her nursing home. I got back in my car, and I was hysterical. It was ugly, crying. And I kept saying to myself, "Vismaya, you know you have the technology. You know that she is not capable of owning or apologizing anything she does because it would be too painful for her to, first of all, to deal with it and then to admit it. So why is it that why is it you're expecting something that you know she is incapable of giving you?" I kept going on and on and on in my head. And I got it intellectually, and every time I wanted to create a different relationship while we're in this tete-a-tete, I just couldn't shut my mouth. She didn't call my birthday. She didn't call July 4th. July 5th, she calls me hysterical, crying. "Oh my God, what's going on? Why?" Something was happening in her nursing home and she wasn't getting what she wanted. And I said, "Why are you calling me?" I said, "You didn't call me on my birthday." She said, "Well, you didn't deserve it." Well, that started another whole aggravation. So fast forward 2 days, she finally calls me on Monday and she wants to have a chat like nothing happened. And I can feel myself getting really angry. And I can feel myself getting super frustrated because I feel like I'm not being heard. I feel like she's not acknowledging what I want her to acknowledge. And I can feel the tension in the conversation start to rise. And it's starting to boil. And it's starting to get to that point again where it's about to blow up. And I finally said to myself, I said, "Vismaya, you have the power. You have the power to shift this conversation right now in an instant and not create a drama." So here's what I did. Every time it was about to escalate and I was about to give a jab, because that's what I wanted to really do, is give a jab because she was not hearing anything I was saying, I had to remind myself that she is incapable of, again, admitting or dealing with the things that I'm asking her to deal with because it would be way too painful. And then I also had to make a choice that to acknowledge and to love my mother exactly the way she is, or to walk away and just say, "This is it, I'm done." And the truth is that I want to be around her. I want to talk to her and I want to call her and I want to, be able to go see her when I want to go see her and do nice things with her because I love her. So every time I felt my blood starting to rise, I said, my mother is the way my mother is, and I choose my mother exactly the way she is. So this week, I invite you to take on Looking at your life and finding, is there somebody that you have that relationship with where it's constantly, and ask yourself, can you choose them exactly the way they are? Now, that's not always easy, my friends, but the second you acknowledge and you take them for exactly the way they are, you stop feeling like a victim. I stop feeling like my word doesn't matter when I talk to my mother. What I have to say is not important. If, you know, if Denise's son, Denise is the person who gives her a shower at her nursing home, if Denise's son tells her something, that's gospel. If I tell her something, I don't know what I'm talking about. And I finally realized that I need to stop letting that, and I knew this intellectually, but I chose to stop taking it so personally. And this is already only a couple of weeks. But I want to tell you, this is what happened out of that. I think last, 3 days ago, I picked her up. And I said, Mom, if you're ready by 5:50 in the morning, I'll take you to see the sunrise. And then that morning happened, and I woke up, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I said, but get up, because she may be standing at her door waiting for you. So I got up. I got to her nursing home at like 5:45, and lo and behold, my mother was sitting there waiting for me to take her to the beach. And again, she's at the beach. Her eyes are closed. I said, Ma, are you looking at the beach? I am! With her eyes like this. And I have to remind myself, that is not my experience. That's her experience. Right? So the miracle for me was that she, as difficult as it is for her to get up and get out of bed and be there at 5:50 in the morning, she did it. So as we go through and we look at these challenging situations or challenging relationships, we have to ask ourselves, are we willing to take the person exactly the way they are? Are we willing to love them exactly the way they are? And I know that sometimes that is challenging, but for me what comes up is the second I do that, I realize that her actions, they're never about me. It's not that she doesn't love me or think I'm smart or think I'm the best thing since sliced bread. It's all the other stuff that she's dealing with that's about her. So again, this week's challenge is to take on somebody that you love, that you have this relationship with, and every time you're with them, remind yourself. Say their name. I love you exactly the way you are. I choose you exactly the way you are. I love you exactly the way you are. I choose you exactly the way that you are. And then, excuse me, maybe go back and do some journaling, do some work and say, and let yourself really let it out. Write it on paper, not in your gratitude journal, on another piece of paper. And let it out, and then look at it and say, this isn't about me. This person's actions, it's never about you. When they're angry or frustrated or screaming and shouting, it's not about you. It's about their own stuff that they're dealing with. So if you're ready to take that on, this is going to be a good, juicy week. And it may not happen right away. It took me the day before my birthday, July 5th, and then the following Monday or Tuesday to really, I had already intellectualized that this is what I wanted, but it took me a couple of days to actually set the action steps into action so that I was doing exactly what I'm telling you to do. So I invite you to take it on. Let's see where it goes. We're going to create new relationships this week. We're going to take the ones that we have to a different level. Please, please, please share in our Facebook group. That's the only way that we're going to really build community and get connected and get to know each other and keep this vibe really high, right? So look forward to hearing from you, and I'll talk to you soon.